Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. Today at the request of a donor, we are playing a deck that is all in on Monastery Mentor. Now this is a card that has not really seen a lot of play for quite a while, but once upon a time this was the win condition of choice. It absolutely slapped in these control decks. And we're going to try and relive that dream a little bit today. So this is relatively close to what the donor sent me originally. So we're playing a whole bunch of the things you would expect. So we've got some removal. Let's just put the removal over here. So we've got a bunch of removal here between the new Wrath of the Skies that we're running 4 of. And in order to make that work, we're running 4 Tune the Narrative. And these sorts of cantrips become pretty good with Monastery Mentor. Just churning out guys, pumping our guys. Feels pretty good. We've got some other cantrips like Brainstorm, Ponder. Even a couple of Preordains have snuck in here. We've got ourselves Spell Pierce, a Stern Scolding, and a Counterspell. Some little one-of interaction kicking around. We have Snapcaster to try and make use of all these cards once over again. We've got ourselves Force of Will, as you'd expect, Force of Negation, and a couple of Lórien Reveals that we're hoping to try and use mainly for draw 3s, but sometimes there will be lands, and a couple of Narsets to reload. So yeah, we're doing the whole Xerox thing, just trying to play a Monastery Mentor and then spam a bunch of stuff. The whole idea here is that we can play the cards we want because we're going to have so much in the way of cantripping. Now this sort of style of deck has fallen out of favour. Generally speaking, the control decks are trying to finish with things like Forthy or Lingus these days. So we could be a bit of a dinosaur in the meta, but I think it's going to be fun to experiment and find out. And it's been a long time since I've cracked someone in the head with a bunch of Monastery Mentor tokens. So there is a part of me that is excited to do that as well. The mana base is pretty much as you'd expect. We've managed to squeeze in 1 Mystic Sanctuary. We've got a reasonable chunk of basic lands in there as well. As for our sideboard, we've got some interesting tools, although I think we're missing a tool that we should have, so I'm just going to add that now. Alright, so I've added some Harbinger of the Seas instead, changed the numbers around a little bit. So Harbinger of the Seas is definitely some tech that these decks didn't used to have in the past, so it'd be quite nice to lean on it now. We've got some more removal of various forms, so we have a piece of removal that actually deals with Planeswalkers. Attacking Tamiyo might prove quite difficult for our deck, but that only has 4 real win conditions. I say 4 real win conditions, there's just 4 win conditions full stop here. We are very much all in on this. A bit more removal, like I said, some Graveyard Hate in the form of Rest in Peace, Soulguard Lantern, and Ghost Vacuum, just sort of diversifying a touch. We've got a Sweeper, we've got some anti-artifact stuff. We've got a couple of Dovin's Vetoes for some of these scary combo decks. Just having a bit more in the way of counterspells that we can cast seems pretty good in a Vexing Bauble world. And like I said, the 3 Harbinger of the Seas. Lone decks can kind of grind through what we're doing, so we're hoping to beat that using Harbinger of the Seas. Also, sometimes maybe we need some more win conditions. We are very win condition light, but this is all about having faith in our Lord and Saviour, Monastery Mentor. Once upon a time, this was the man. Let's see if we can relive some of his old glory days. Alright, that's the list. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to see my videos early, for just £1 a month, you can become a YouTube member and do just that. Let's bring some Monastery Mentor to the world today, shall we? Let's go. We have a win condition. We have a Ponder. Island Ponder keep. I've heard that somewhere. Alright, I think I will keep this one. We're on the draw. We've got a decent number of hits here. Do I want to deal with Tamiyo? Wrath of the Skies can deal with the backside. Do I just want to say no to this one? Oh, this is a tough call. I think we just have to... Because we're sort of going to be stuck under our own feet a little bit, I think we need to stop them getting this immediate card advantage engine. How times have changed. Okay, so I think we're just going to go get a basic island here. We're going to play on basics for as long as we can in this matchup. Opponent could be some sort of blue-red or Grixis style tempo deck. Another land and some more cantrips. I will keep these. Unfortunate that the land we found is susceptible to Wasteland. A Windswept Heath. That is not what I was expecting alongside a volcanic island. We could be looking at some kind of leyline deck. The Beanstalk, there we go. It is a leyline deck. So we are in a control matchup where our opponent has a much better card advantage engine than us. We do have a better win condition though, in terms of what this Monastery Mentor can pack. Because it's not just a single card on its own. I don't think we have to worry about too much about Wasteland. These decks sometimes do have Wasteland. They have like 1 or 2 copies and a loam. So we're not entirely out of the woods of Wasteland. So I'll see if I can ponder into some other lands here. Okay. Sure, we'll just put these down. We'll draw this Prismatic Vista. I think I would like to have the other land as well. I'd like to Mentor and Ponder in the same turn. We might be doing a Wrath of the Skies before then, trying to clean up these Beanstalks though. There's a Brainstorm underneath. this next land, which is also kind of interesting. I think we're just going to pass and see what shakes loose. A Brainstorm from our opponent, sure. This is definitely going to be a matchup that makes us feel like an old Grandad Magic boomer playing with the old technology when all the kids have got the new exciting cards like Up the Beanstalks and Leyline Bindings and things. And even Tamiyo was something that we had to really fight over there. Maybe we could have just Wrath of the Skies and relied on this. But given that our hand, when we did that, we were in a situation where we didn't know if we were going to be having any white mana in the near future. We had to just spend a few turns cantripping before anything could happen there. Another Beanstalk. Okay, so we're going to be doing Wrath of the Skies next turn. I think I will draw this Brainstorm on top. Our deck is all about doing the whole Xerox life of just playing lots of cantrips. Blue. What is this? I am worried that our opponent just has a force, so our Wrath of the Skies will not achieve what I need it to. A Murktide Regent. So that is a problem, isn't it? Because we don't kill that with the Wrath of the Skies. It's only a 4/4 though. It did draw 2 cards off of it, which is pretty disgusting. Okay. I think we're going to get Tundra off this one and Plains off the other one. Let's see if we can blow up their Beanstalks. It's a Force of Will. Sure. So our Monastery Mentor can outrace what our opponent's doing. But the problem is we're never going to keep up with our opponent's card advantage because they have a real 2024 card advantage engine and we just don't have that. Okay, we need to draw a land. We can Mentor, Ponder Brainstorm, start accruing the army. We are now very much the beatdown. Despite not having any creatures in play, we're not going to be able to overcome our opponent's card advantage. Ground Seal, that will stop our Snapcaster and Mystic Sanctuary, which means we're bound to draw either or right now. So we take 4. This is the 4-turn clock for now, but they might be able to speed up with additional Murktides down the stretch. Did not find a land. We did find a card I'm interested in though. Let's get this Monastery Mentor in. Let's plow this immediately. Get ourselves some Monastery Mentor triggers. We're going to lose our Monastery Mentor, sure. But we end up with a creature. So we are on board with a 1/1. It doesn't stay a 1/1 for long. They printed a Monastery Mentor these days. I dread to think what they would put on it. Maybe they just permanently grey. A Ground Seal, sure. Very much a sign of the times having these 2 main deck Ground Seals. Play Monastery Mentor. I would like to ponder here. A Leyline Binding. I will respond to this Leyline Binding with a Brainstorm. Just make sure we get another guy out of it. If they're doing 1-for-1 removal, we want to go wide, and that's what the Monastery Mentor allows us to do. We've already played a land this turn, so I guess we put back the Strand, mill over with the Archive, or we shuffle. It's probably better actually, isn't it? Do it like this, that's fine. We're also about to ponder, so we can shuffle that ponder. Goodbye, Monastery Mentor. So that's half the win conditions on our deck answered. Our opponent has a very realistic opportunity to just wipe out all of our win conditions. Any order and shuffle. Alright, so we're getting in for 3 though, unless our opponent plows us. I'm not looking forward to a sweeper here. Okay, so we can put a lot of damage. If we can draw like cantrip into cantrip into cantrip, we might just be able to kill our opponent. Right, 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, 4 cantrips kills our opponent. We're almost playing like a weird combo deck, aren't we? Yes, our opponent has more cards. There's no way we beat our opponent's card advantage here. We are very much in the can we get over the line before they leverage the cards in their hand. I have mixed feelings about whether that's possible. Narset is a good start though. Let's get some triggers. If they have plows, they're encouraged to fire them off now. A Solitude. Drawing 3 cards. Yep, that's terrifying. So yeah, we're just playing removal spells. Our opponent's playing removal spells that are also Ancestral Recall sometimes. Okay, we're going to lose one of our little friends. This also might draw them into an answer for our Narset. If it doesn't, then we get to shut off all their card advantage engine here. Just a Force of Negation. Sad, but that's what we have to deal with. Let's attack for 4. We have potentially 6 damage in hand if they play a creature because we can double stack. But that's not really what we want to do here. Our opponent has drawn over half their deck. We have drawn a third of our deck. These kids these days with all their card advantage engines. We used to have some Narsets and be happy with it. Prismatic Ending. Alright. We are steadily losing ground. I'm pretty sure we're going to be scooping this one up soon. Alright, a Murktide that draws some cards. I think we need the damage from this plow, so we're going to let them draw the cards. We're going to let them have a Murktide. Obviously, we don't have a choice because of the way the stack works. But then we're going to try and plow this on our turn and force through an extra point of damage. This feels real bad. It's a good example of why control decks don't look like this anymore. It's unfortunate that we got paired against just a better control deck. Because we can still be a control deck that does control things against people. Okay, let's Brainstorm. Another source to Plowshares. Let's plow this. Get out of here. I don't think they're going to fight over this. They might do, if their hand's that good. Okay, we will plow in response to these card draws. At least we're getting a little chip damage in. Even if they counter our spells, it still pluses our creature. Maybe our opponent can deck. Because the Beanstalk is a mandatory trigger. So if we need a source of Plowshares, we can have it. Otherwise, we can go and fetch a Meticulous Archive. We'll crack for 4. Maybe this game is about trying to deck our opponent. Honestly, just having an increasing confusion in our deck would probably be fine at this point. Alright, our opponent's got many manas. They haven't played a threat out. I think I'm going to activate our land and get a Meticulous Archive. I think that's better than a Mystic Sanctuary because we can't ground seal right now. I don't really like this Force of Will. We could just hold it up and just Force of Will our opponent's next threat. And maybe they'll deck. What a horrible way to play the game. Our opponent is in the stage of the game where they're going to clean up because they've drawn so many cards. Splash for 1. I'm just going to hardcast a Solitude. No. They could do it end step if they wanted to. They don't really care about that 1 life. A Solitude. Let's say no to that Solitude. I'm going to Force of Will here. I'm going to Force of Negation. That one doesn't draw you a card. Okay, so our opponent is down to, what, 14 cards in library on their draw step? There's not many spells they get to cast. Cost like a decent amount. Oh, they choose not to plow our guy. Why didn't they Solitude our guy? Are we really worried about that 1 extra life in terms of time constraints or deck constraints? Let's Preordain. So these cards don't actually do very much. We can Snapcaster, but we don't get to target anything. A Swords to Plowshares, you say? Okay. Our opponent has loads of mana over there. Let's just try and answer all their threats, and hopefully they'll deck. Not how we want to be winning games of Magic the Gathering. Brainstorm, that's 1 less card in their library. Sometimes you've got to take the wins where you find them. Alright, no Solitude for us to worry about. They might just have another one, but that will draw them 3 cards. Their other threat of... their other threat of Murktide Regent will also draw them some cards. This is just like a Solitude. Seems to have accidentally F6 through my turn there. Not really what we need, but this game is basically over. We're hoping that our opponent can make a mistake. So next turn we can jam this Ponder into hopefully finding an answer. Not that we have many answers available right now. We've gone through a decent number of plows. A Monastery Mentor. That's a very good thing to have drawn. This gives us at least 1 more blocker. We're going to plow our creature. They are. But that's another turn of life. We have 1 more Monastery Mentor in our deck. Tune the Narrative, Force of Will, Flooded Strand. I don't want these cards. Any order in a shuffle. Force of Negation. Pretty bad here. Right, our opponent has equal number of cards in hand and in library. They're prismatic ending their own up the beanstalk. So they certainly see how we're trying to play this game. I'm not going to block this turn because we might have an instant speed cantrip so we can block and actually kill their Solitude at some point. Look at that. Exactly the thing I said. A Leyline Binding. Let's counterspell that. Still drawing your 2 cards though. They're just trying to get our blocker out of the way. 5 cards left in library. We've certainly entered fast territory. That's a fairy. I'm going to Brainstorm in response. We have a counterspell in our deck. Let's not find a counterspell. But the Wrath of the Skies is an interesting one because we can blow up a lot of their permanents. Do if X equals 5, it blows up everything. Alright. I'm willing to believe. So we're going to lose our little monk token. Although we will blow up everything which will allow them to... Okay, they're just going to bounce their own beanstalk. But this does draw them a card. If they attack here, we block. Yeah, how about them apples, opponent? Force of Will, drawing 1 card, 2 cards left in their library. Is this where they just have like a 1 of endurance? So we have a Lórien Revealed on top, which can be used as a draw 3. Brainstorm. Okay. We won that one via decking. This is very much the tortoise and the hare, isn't it? We're the old granddad deck, and we won because our opponent drew too many cards. What joke. Okay, Dovin's Veto, get in here. Our opponent's a multicolored deck. Let's get these Harbingers in. Get Lost does some work against some of their spooky things. I don't think we need any lanterns or vacuums. So, 7 potential cards in. What's coming out here? We're probably not trading 2-for-1s here with these Force of Will, so they can get out of here. Stern Scolding looks pretty bad. And we're still looking for 2 more cuts. That's a tough one. It's probably just like our 2 weakest cantrips. Let's try that. Also ahead on clock. Okay, yeah. Island Ponder into Harbinger potentially. I like the Lórien Revealed. I don't mind the other cards. Which one would I most like? Probably Harbinger because it's blue. So we can Lórien Revealed for an island on our next turn. Do we want to draw the Harbinger? Do we want to draw the a random card? Because we can cycle our upkeep. I think I'm probably wanting to draw the Harbinger because I think it's going to be a really solid way of locking down our opponent's mana and maybe letting us get a couple of turns of Mentor just popping off. We don't actually care about blue cards that much. We have a Force of Negation in still, which cares about blue cards, but not the Force of Will. Force of Negation being slightly more castable. Let's Island Cycle here. I think we're just going to go get the Meticulous Archive here. Just get our little value. Don't really want to plow. That can go into the graveyard. Maybe our opponents boarded out all of their beanstalks after they lost to them. Playing the 3rd beanstalk is a dicey decision. Our opponent probably has a similar amount of win conditions to we do, but they might have a 4th Eorlingus. I don't know. They should have a 4th Eorlingus. But why didn't they just win the game with their last game? I don't know. Up the beanstalk. Sure. So they have the planes, which can kill our Harbinger, which is annoying. But we're still going to slam it. We can do a lot of work here. It can absorb some removal spells until our Mentor can pop off. So our opponent still has access to 2 of their colours. But their leyline bindings are going to cost them more. Things like 4th Eorlingus are off the table. Other beanstalks are off the table. Here comes a plow. Carpet of Flowers. Disgusting. Yeah, we do not have that. So that means that this next Harbinger is pointless. I'd like to find a cantrip or something so we can at least do Mentor and activate it in a meaningful fashion. If I had a creature, then we could Mentor, Plow, and that's still fine. We need to get at least 1 body off of the Mentor. This looks like a Murktide to me. Nope, it's a Fairy Time Rabbit. That's horrible. We have Get Lost, that can hopefully help with that. Opponent is behind on clock though. We deploy another Harbinger. We're just saving up for a turn where we get to do Monastery Mentor things. We might find ourselves needing to use the Snapcaster to do that, which that's a 6 mana play, and our opponent does get a priority window to stop us getting anything, which sounds awful. Our opponent can play under this Harbinger really effectively as well. Bouncing their own Beanstalk to redeploy it. Pretty good. The Teferi is conveniently on 2, but they do have a Plains just sitting there waiting to ruin our day. A Murktide Regent, sure. So we don't have white under our own Harbinger, which is a little bit annoying. We can still attempt to remove this though. Probably worth fighting over if our opponent can. What a surprise. Play a white source. Am I playing out this Mentor? I think so. Oh no, we can't actually. I haven't got the second white one we're talking about. I don't think I'm attacking with the Harbinger. We could Snapcaster and get the Ponder back, but we had to Snapcaster Plow next turn anyway. Yeah, our own Harbinger hurting us more than I thought it would there. Like a Hardcast Solitude. Drawing a card. This will unlock our Monastery Mentor Snapcaster Plow. Goodbye, friend. Were you a good friend? Probably not. Alright, 6 cards. 6 damage comes in. I think we have another Meticulous Archive we can reach for here. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's crack this. Let's cast a Snapcaster Mage. Good old-fashioned Snapcaster Mage. I'd like to target this Swords to Plowshares. I'll then cast a Monastery Mentor and then play this Swords to Plowshares. We can't play the Swords to Plowshares at instant speed because of the Teferi, but as soon as this is in play, we get priority anyway. Let's see what counter magic our opponent is going to have for this one. We've got an additional body. We got some value from our Monastery Mentor. We have a creature that can block into the Solitude. They can bounce a token. That's fine. It'll cost them the Teferi. 3 mana here. Just cycling a Triome. Okay, that's certainly not as bad as the things it could have been. I was expecting worse. Card of Flowers. 5 blue mana. A Tamiyo. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Shouldn't be very difficult for them to flip this given the nature of their deck. So they're getting close to going through half of their deck already. So they'll probably get through half by the time we've got through a third, which is what happened last time. Murktide Regent, our Counterspell, not looking so good right now. Let's flip their Tamiyo, which can plus and shrink our team on the attacks. We can still block the Solitude, so I doubt they're coming in with a Solitude here. Yeah, upping on this Ferry, they're just going to hold back with their wall of creatures. Seems reasonable. I quite like a Narset here. Let's get that going. Swords to Plowshares on our Mentor. We didn't get to Counterspell because of the Teferi, so we just got to let it happen. Sickening. Let's minus the Narset. Swords to Plowshares I will take. Got some movement from the opponent. They do have Force of Will looking mana over there. Alright, I think that's what it's going to be. And our Counterspell looks pretty bad. This will be a cantrip in Counterspell as well. Alright, Cryptic Command, you calm down. Let's play this. I would like to put back the Swords to Plowshares, please. And try again next turn. We're going to lose our Narset, unfortunately. Oh, they didn't get to draw a card of that. Actually, no, they did draw a card because it was their first draw of the turn. Because they get to draw 1 card each turn. Goodbye, one of our tokens. Not unexpected. Murktide eats up our Narset. I still don't think they're attacking with a Solitude here. But we do have this ticking clock of Tamiyo to deal with as well. But our opponent has this ticking clock of only having 9 minutes left on the round. They should make it so if you're playing a second legendary opponent, you have to sacrifice the first while this is on the stack. That would be good. Okay, so they got a Force of Will back with a Tamiyo, which grows the Murktide. Okay. There's a Plow there, which means they get to attack with both creatures. I imagine the Murktide comes at Tamiyo, the Solitude at us. Yeah, we'll take that. We get to potentially kill the Tamiyo. I suspect our opponent has another Solitude. Alright, they're just going to bounce our token, sure. They have a Force of Will. I know this Plow is coming. Let's just grind a little bit of time with our opponent's clock. We got 4 minutes on ahead of them here. So this is going to be 9 damage next turn, and then 9 damage a turn after. So it's a 2-turn clock. So we probably get them down to about 7:30 on their clock, maybe. They've got a lot of operations each turn. They've got a Carpet of Flowers to let trigger. A Lórien Revealed, sure. Let's try and draw 3 cards. A Get Lost. That does buy us some time, doesn't it? Get out of here, you. It's another Force of Will. It is. Let's crack our Flooded Strand. Get Meticulous Archive. Put that on the bin. And then let our opponent swing through for the win here. Alright. Was this going to be 7:40 on their clock, roughly? Okay. We managed to grind them down a little bit. We got to take some of these cheesy angles here and there. Maybe a Supreme Verdict if we're in delay mode. As sad as that is. If we're trying to cheese our opponent out, maybe that's the only way we win this game. We're actually supposed to play the pass as well. Just remove all their win conditions. I could see it. I don't like it, but I could see it. Half the skies does seem useful though. I'm going to take out Spell Pierce. Maybe I don't want these ponders. Our counterspells are so bad though at times. Let's try some of this. A little bit more removal heavy. And we're just trying to delay our opponent or maybe just pop off with a buy. Alright, we'll keep this one. We can slow some stuff down. We've got a Brainstorm. Capture a Triome. Okay. Let's Brainstorm. Alright, we'll get a couple of these lands away. A different land. Gonna have to invest in the Dark Arcs of Magic the Gathering to try and jam our opponent up here. So they have white mana which can answer our little friend. And if we play our little friend, we have to lose all of our own white mana. This is a lot of answers if we're trying to grief our opponent out that way. We can go fetch Meticulous Archive. Or we can keep the Plow. See if we can make our opponent struggle to actually win the game. Got another removal spell on top, haven't we? Crack this, get Meticulous Archive. Surveil on. Sure, that's fine. I'll play this. I'm expecting this to get killed in a turn or two. Possibly immediately. Our opponent doesn't have a carpet of flowers down. Yep. You keep doing operations, opponent. Atamio. Going to brainstorm straight away. They are. We have two answers for this. We can get lost. What are we doing with the rest of our mana this turn? Not a lot. I'm going to Wrath of the Skies. So we can clean up that beanstalk as well. Wait, does that not hit planeswalkers? Oh, it doesn't hit planeswalkers. Whoops. Okay. So we don't have two answers to this. We have to get lost it now. Whoopsie daisy. This is the second league I'm recording today, so apologies. My brain is still in the other one. Okay. Tamio. We're plussing. We need our get lost to resolve. Right, we've got Force of Will. Opponent's getting dangerously close to drawing half of their library. Not sure what our solution is to beating that. I guess 5 minutes isn't the most amount of time to sort through a big hand like that. Sure, you take your library in your hand. We've got some uncounterable kill spells in the form of the Supreme Verdict. Carpet Flowers, that's not great on the clock. Obviously they get to play a bunch of stuff out, and we're probably dead. But if they just like slam a bunch of things and we can Supreme Verdict. It's a very time rabbit, not a lover of that one. With newfangled Tamio contraptions. Alright, that is a Murktide Regent. Alright, let's try and plow this. Alright, it worked. Let's tune the narrative. Gets us some energy. We didn't get to play anything on our opponent's turn, so F6ing is fine. Let's see Lórien Revealed here. No, just a little Solitude. We can answer these creatures. We want to use the Supreme Verdict to try and sweep 2 if possible. Opponent's got 15 cards in the library. Oh, sorry, 17. They just put 2 back. Misty. Another Brainstorm. You carry on, opponent. Ponders, sure. Another Ponder. I'll play that other Murktide. We get a nice 2 for 1 with this Supreme Verdict. There it is. That's what we've been waiting for. Let's try and cheese them out. Mystic Sanctuary would be a nice draw. Tune the narrative. I'll fire that off. Can't be countered. Lose both your guys. Start all over again. So we've got 4 energy saved up. So we have enough energy in the bank that we can try and Wrath the Skies to kill a Murktide Regent. How many Murktides have we got left? We got rid of 1. How many did we see before? 3 maybe? They've got to have a 4th Eolingus somewhere, but they didn't in the first game. Alright, they're pondering. I think they must be looking for their 4th Eolingus here. If there's the bottom card, maybe that's okay for us. Let's cast a ponder here. Flooded Strand, Brainstorm, Path to Exile. And more removal spells I don't hate. I don't mind having the ability to Mystic Sanctuary and put back a Supreme Verdict on top. Also, it's an operation we can do in our opponent's turn, which might damage their clock timing. I'd like to draw 3 cards, please. Play another land. Get one of these. I'll get a Tundra. Cast a Brainstorm. Our opponent is not F6ing all these operations, which is... Alright, we'll put 2 Wrath of the Skies on the top. Solitude, sure. That takes a little while to kill us. And we can just point lots of removal spells at it. They might even deck. What a weird game. Do I want the Wrath of the Skies on top of our library? I think so. Okay, another white source. Just basic planes, I think, this time around. Let's go for a Monastery Mentor. This obviously makes us multiple bodies. Let's plow this. Force of Will on our plow. Sure. What about this path? So I want to play this guy. I think I do. This stops our opponent from 4th Eolingusing until they get rid of our Harbinger. Now, they have a Teferi that can do that, but that draws them another card. That maybe gives us a window to win the game here. 55 seconds, opponent. They bounce a token, so they're not 4th Eolingusing us. Alright, there we go. What a control match. We basically did very little, but our opponents somehow did even less with their entire library. Yeah, sure. I'll take that. What a ridiculous way to start this league. But we're back, baby. Monastery Mentor, winning games. Let's go to round 2. How do I feel about this opening hand for round 2? Oh, we've got Brainstorm. I think it's okay. We have a lot of cantrips in our deck, but I think we're going to go for something better here. Is this better? We're on the draw. We have a cantrip. We have 3 draws. Statistically speaking, 3 draws should be enough, as well as all the cantrips. Okay, we'll keep this one. And we'll put back this Wrath of the Skies. Maybe other hand is slightly better than this one, but we're on a 6. The Force of Will is also able to counter anything, though. Rite of Flame. Alright. Ral Monsoon Sage. I guess we're going to have to hit this with a plow and hold up the force. Would love to draw another land. Did not draw a land. Okay. I hate this, but I think it's correct. Let's plow this Ral and try and force the will their next engine piece. Yeah, if that fetch land was another fetch land where we could just get a Tundra, then I would be okay. Alright. We got 2 for 1 off of that. Can we find a land? We did not find a land. Alright. Both of us are having some trouble. Our opponent's deck is really good into counter magic as a general rule, though. A Wren's Resolve. I think that's fine. A Ral. That's the sort of thing we want to counterspell, like a big engine card. Just get some going. Land, please. A land. Alright. Well, now we're cooking with gas. I think we can afford to get a Tundra here. We could tune the narrative, or we could brainstorm. I think I want to brainstorm here. See if we can shake loose something that isn't... Oh, jeez. So, next turn, what are we doing? Probably Counterspell. So we probably have to force pitching tune. So we just put back a couple of lands, it's fine. Have to redraw one of them anyway. The reason we did that is in case we drew a Source to Plowshares, we at least get to know what to do with the Ral. We want to do it in our turn so we don't add Storm for them, in case that's a relevant article. And we have to counter this Ral. Even though we can snap Plow, I think the Ral just provides way too much value for our opponent. They might just be able to go off right away. Go and get a Tundra here and pass, and then we have Counterspell or Snapcaster Mage plus Brainstorm. We can start getting some beats in. Don't mind this first Reckless Impulse. A Burning Wish. That's the sort of thing I would counterspell. Okay, we're running low now. So we have access to Snapcaster Mage Counterspell or Snapcaster Mage Source to Plowshares. Either of those is reasonable, depending on what our opponent has, whether it's Ral, Bergie, or some big payoff we have to hit. Okay, I think we let the Wren's Resolve go. We want to hit like a business spell, like a bonus round or an Inspired Tinkering, like, sorry, not Inspired Tinkering, Burning Wish, that sort of jam. I don't think we can afford to play the Snapcaster Mage out just to Brainstorm here, which is annoying. Preordain, we can afford to do that though. Tune the narrative and a Ponder. Keep this Ponder. We can't play it this turn, but we can Snapcaster Counterspell. Ancient Tomb. Alright, opponent, you have mana. A bonus round. I don't really want our opponent to have a bonus round. So here we are. We could get a Mystic Sanctuary and put the Force of Will on top for next turn, if we get another turn. I suspect we're just dead here. These Ruby Storm decks are very good into counter magic as a general rule, because they just overload you with so many like draw twos. Okay, so giving our opponent a little bit more Storm. That's unlikely to be a critical factor because our opponent tends to go big or go home sort of deck. Alright, they're going here. Wren's Resolve into some more stuff. Yep, Rite of Flame, Seething Song, just get all the mana. They've got 8 mana and 3 cards. What was that one? A Wish. Okay, so they can cast Past in... No, Past in Flames doesn't do it here. They need... they do have Past in Flames and they have the 1 mana left over. Yeah, because Past in Flames is 4 on the front side and 5 on the back side, not the other way around. Okay, so they just get to cast all of these all over again, and then they can Wish, and that should be game over. I'm not going to insult my opponent's intelligence. I believe they can win that one. Okay, so what do we want here? I guess Dovin's Veto helps, and that's probably about it. We need the plows for the Ral. We need the Wrath. Do we need the Wrath of Skies? I guess we can trim a couple of those. That's basically what we're doing here. We're not massively kitted out for this sort of matchup. We can have the Get Lost to kill Ral on either side. We have the Rest in Peace to deal with their... Yeah, the Rest in Peace can deal with Past in Flames lines. Maybe these also help with the Past in Flames line. Stern Scolding counters Ral. That's relevant, but I don't think it's good enough here. Plow is an easier answer for that. Alright, we've got a game plan. Let's hope that our opponent doesn't do enough. What a game plan. Island Ponder, but not quite as to the narrative. I think we still keep this on. We have a lot of interaction, which is what we need. But I think our opponent's deck is just going to toast us here. I would certainly like to be in our opponent's shoes in this particular matchup. Alright, gonna get an island. Gonna pass. Why am I getting an island? I was supposed to get a Tundra. That was so bad. Just losing my mind over here. A Vexing Bauble. I'm gonna cast Tune the Narrative first. I don't really want to counterspell this because it's going to cost us our Brainstorm or or I guess we can pitch the Dovin's Veto since we're not casting that anyway. Oh, that's horrible for us. Combo deck's being able to run Vexing Bauble is really good. Why didn't we get Tundra? Alright, can we find a white source now and undo our horrible error? We can. Okay. I don't think we can afford to keep this Mentor right now, although we do need to win the game. We're keeping both lands. We want the Plow in case of Ral. So put the Mentor back. I guess it has to be the Mentor in the Tune. If we don't get a target for our Plow, we can draw the Tune into the Mentor, and then crack and do a Ponder. Still holding up the Plow. Reckless Impulse. Sure. So this is the problem. They just have lots and lots of draw twos. They slowly whittle us down. Alright, we'll take this Tune. Tune, draw that Mentor. Play this, cast a Ponder, still holding up Plow. Okay, I guess we can start doing Mentor stuff. I don't think it's going to be good enough, but the other option is to try and dig for a counterspell here. Our opponent thinks we have another counterspell already, so let's just give him a display of strength here. So we've secured our 4th land, so we can go Mentor plus Ponder or Tune or whatever. But we can't pressure our opponent that well. And their deck has ridiculous redundancy. Desperate Ritual. Splicing a Desperate Ritual. We don't see that very often. Ruby Medallion. Yep, that's not the Ral, so we can't plow that. Rends Resolve. Getting a Right Flames. They got more mana. Do they have more cards? They need to have a payoff. No payoff. Okay, I think I'm going to get a Meticulous Archive. No, there's a Ponder on top, actually. That's what we want, isn't it? Okay, so play this one out. Crack this for a Tundra. Cast a Monastery Mentor. Just a Ponder. Maybe we can find a Force of Will to go with the Snapcaster. We did not, but we can... Can we kill our opponent next turn? So each one of these is worth 2 damage, effectively. 2, 4... No, we're a little ways off. But I like this one. I'm going to keep them on top. That'll also give me a display of strength against our opponent as well. And they'll go, okay, we can't go off with one big payoff spell because our opponent has an answer. Maybe that's a little sketch. But if we shuffle there, I think our opponent sends it. Although they might send it anyway. They couldn't send it last turn though. So I like trying to push our advantage when they couldn't send it last turn. Because they could have done all this last turn with the mana they have floating. So now we don't have the Plow up. That's really annoying. They got 1 card left in hand. It's a Past in Flames. Oh no, that's not good for us. Maybe they'll cast 17 spells and lose every single flip and die. They're going to get all this mana back. Then they're going to Reckless Impulse and Rends Resolve. So they have 4 cards to find an answer with. Or to find the next piece of the puzzle with. Now those things can find additional pieces themselves. And if they cast enough spells, the Ral can flip and can just do them a Mind's Desire as well. Yep, so they flipped it to the backside. They've got a Rends Resolve, that gives them... Oh, sorry, Reckless Impulse. They've got more looks. Alright, they've exiled 8 cards. What cards do they exile here? Bonus round. And they got Burning Wish. Yeah, we can call it a day there. Yeah, that was pretty horrible. We don't have the way of pressuring our opponent. We don't have the sort of engine so we can just counter spells forever. You like the Up the Beanstalk decks can sometimes do, where they can counter into more counters. And they're getting resources. We're using our resources to counter, but not refueling. I think you really want to be like something tempo to try and go into this and knock them off balance. They're always going to win in a protracted game anyway. Let's go to round 3. Okay. I would like some cantrips, but we're quite likely to draw them. I guess we'll keep this one. It's a little bit slow, but we've got a little bit of removal to ease ourselves in. A second white source gives us the Wrath of the Skies. Birds of Paradise. Am I bolting the bird, or am I casting a Ponder? Maybe that is foolhardy. Okay, I will keep the Force of Will in hand in case we need... Well, I guess what am I doing? We don't have a blue card. That was loose. I was thinking about the Ponder, but that was the card we just drew. Oh dear, having a nightmare today. A Nadu. Okay. Yeah, we should have had a land in our hand instead of this Force of Will. Hopefully that won't come back to bite us, but I suspect it might. Alright. I got rid of the Nadu. Oh look, it's a Nadu. You got Nomads? Yeah, we'll scoop that up. They're going to be drawing 6 cards over this turn and 6 cards in the next turn. We're not beating that. Alright, let's try and do a better job. So, I think the Harbingers are an interesting option. I like the Supreme Verdict, and I like all this other removal. Stern Scolding. Spell Pierce is pretty bad here. Our opponent's build looks like it's going to be one of the Zenith builds. So I like this sort of stuff. I don't like the Force of Negation. They're mainly a creature deck. Stern Scolding doesn't hit Nadu, does hit all their mana dorks. It also hits their Nomads, which is real. So we can take out a couple of Preordains. We just kind of want to play a bunch of removal, really. How much am I into the Harbinger of the Seas here? And when they don't have mana dorks, their mana is really bad. So maybe I'm down with that. Do I like the... I'm not really drawing that many extra cards. Maybe, but we kind of need to draw extra cards, but we'll worry about that later, I guess. We'll swap out a couple of our weaker cantrips. Like the Wrath of the Skies is still going to do a good job here. Alright, we'll keep this. We've got some lands. We've got some removal. We can actually Wrath of the Skies here. Without our basic mana base causing us trouble. I think I will get a basic Plains for the first one. Which pass now. Tune the narrative. Okay, I will get this. I will fetch a Tundra. And tune that narrative. Another removal spell, useful. So we can't removal spell this turn, but it does look like we're holding up a plow to our opponent. But next turn we can Snapcaster Plow. Or if they play 2/1 drops, we can start Wrath of the Skysing. We can go and get Meticulous Archive, get some Surveil action. We're in an okay spot. Our opponent might just think that we're running nothing but removal and slow roll their attempt at the combo to play both pieces in the same turn, which will force us to have instant speed removal or counter magic that we could still draw. And they mulled over a Lush Portico. They have no basics at present. Looks like they don't want to respect that. Forest, okay, so now they're respecting it a little bit. A Nadu, sure. We're going to get ourselves a Tundra here. Let's get a Snapcaster. Get our Plow on. They got Endurance, maybe? Alright, we kill our opponent's creature. They do get a card out of it, though. It was a Ponder. Can start attacking, at least. It is only a Snapcaster Mage. We found a modicum of stability here. Teferi, that absolutely blows us apart, doesn't it? We can get lost it next turn. We'll go to the end step, and then we will Meticulous Archive. Get a little bit of extra value going. We could go get a Plains here, actually, if we're planning on playing the little guy. Yeah, no, for purposes of Harbinger, we want a Plains there. We should have played out Polluted Delta and thought about that ahead of time. Okay, let's play this one out. I would like to get rid of this. They didn't get to any card advantage out of this. Nice. They get the maps. And what do maps do? Target creature explores. Okay, cool. I can never remember what explore does. I think it's like, look at the top card. If it's a land, you get it. Otherwise, you put a +1/+1 counter on your guy or something. I don't know. Something along those lines. We have a Stern Scolding up, which can counter some of their guys. Right, there's an instant speed Ponder, thanks to Teferi last turn. I don't believe the Snapcaster Mage has the ability to go all the way for it. Bristly Bill, though, gets scolded. So now we can Meticulous Archive at end step. Or we could get back a removal spell. We already have a removal spell in hand. Just Meticulous Archive. Okay, that's a good removal spell too. Keep that. Keep bashing with our mediocre man. Oh, is this going to be an Endurance? Gonna put our graveyard away because they've seen Snapcasters. I will plow this. Just keep the damage coming. Keep the board clean. We've got a removal spell in hand that we can leverage on something. Alright, Harbinger no longer looks like a useful option. Monastery Mentor. Let's attack with our... yeah, we'll attack the Snapcaster. We should play the Mentor first. If they've got another Endurance here, then we could have Mentored and get lost it. Alright, let's play our guy. It's just a hard cast Force of Will. Sure. 2 cards left in our opponent's hand. We just need 8 turns of Snapcaster damage to get there. Let's attack with Snapcaster. We could play Wrath of Skies just to bank some mana, but we should be able to kill 3 drops, which is all we need, given the nature of their deck. Brainstorm, sure. So we're really feeling the lack of a card advantage engine in our deck. We're just kind of twiddling our thumbs a little bit here. So we can Wrath of the Skies and kill the Dryad Arbor. So we'll bank 1 energy off this. We can do it for 0. I will get back a source of Plowshares here, I think. We've already got another Wrath of the Skies that we can do for big numbers. We also blew up our opponent's map tokens, so no value was gained from Get Lost. Our opponent's cracking effect, that's kind of scary. Alright, the brainstorming. So the problem with Wrath of the Skies, if we have to kill bigger creatures, is that we lose our only bit of pressure. Also, Wrath of the Skies and Monastery Mentor aren't the best of bedfellow. Sure, we can kill that if we need to. Nardu's good. And they have the Caracas to go with it. Yep. Gonna be a tough one there. What is our plan? If we Wrath the Skies, trying to kill this Sylvan Safekeeper, they're going to bounce this Nardu. Let's bank a bit more energy here. They don't know what... Okay, so they're going to return their Nardu. So they don't know what we're going to pay for the Wrath of the Skies until it resolves. So we just pay 1, take out that guy. We have a removal spell for the Nardu. But our opponent's gone through a lot more cards than we have. As you can see, there's 32 cards left in the deck and 47 in ours. So there is a Nardu. We don't get to kill that one straight up. So Get Lost is the more flexible removal spell. So we want to be applying this. We know our opponent has a... We know our opponent has the Force of Will. They got a Nardu over there. Another Nardu. Jeez. They might just let this go. Okay, they're going to Caracas their guy with a prismatic ending. Alright. I think it's going to be really difficult for us to get over the line here. Oh, I like this though. Let's just give me them cards. Are you going to Force of Will this? They are, pitching their bonus Nardu. Yeah, so they can just keep playing Nardu and bouncing it, forcing us to use removal. They're drawing cards every time, but maybe we can just get over the line because we only have 4 more damage to deal. It's the little Snapcaster that could. I think we're going to fall 1 attack step short here. There's Nardu. Someone like a Harbinger could stop it. Ugh. That's real bad news for us. Okay, so our opponent just gets to draw all the cards now. So they get 4 cards in their turn, 4 cards in our turn. There's another Force of Will. Yeah, that's it. We're not winning that. Absolutely in shambles. Our opponent's card advantage engine is so strong here. And Nardu is just such a powerful creature that we're always going to struggle to beat. Tough time for us Monastery Mentor players. Let's go to round 4. Alright, we've got some mana, we got some spells. We'll keep this. Once Upon a Time from our opponents. Is this a creature deck we can beat up on using things like Wrath of the Skies? I hope so. And Endurance. So I'm getting Cradle Control vibes. Very nice Forest from our opponent. A lovely Onslaught one there. Swords to Plowshares. I don't know if we're supposed to plow this Hierarch. I don't think I want to. I think this is a Ponder situation. I actually like the Tune the Narrative a lot here. So I'll put this island at the bottom. It's Lórien Revealed that we will use to get our second white source. So we're looking for a big turn 3 Wrath of the Skies to sweep up their board. Underground Mortuary, so they're not committing too much to the battlefield this turn, and they do appear to be showing all the signs of a Cradle Control deck list. They left a card on top. Another Hierarch, sorry. This one is Noble, the other one is Ignoble. If they want to attack. No, it's a Reclaimer. We might have to plow this rather than getting frisky with things. How does that impact our ability to tune the narrative? There is an island underneath, but we need a non-island. If we don't get to tune the narrative if we do it this way. Do we need to tune the narrative? Yeah, this is really tough. We could let them have a turn with the Reclaimer. That feels a little bit worrying as well. I think we play out the plains. The idea is we go and fetch a Tundra and cast Tune the Narrative. And then we can untap and do a big Wrath of the Skies to sweep everything up. So the land that our opponent gets with the Reclaimer won't be live yet, because it comes in tapped. But they could phase out one of their creatures. Can also threaten an instant speed endurance, so they could float the mana. It's just going to be a natural order. It's only one of the things I was somewhat afraid of. So if they get Crater Hoof, it doesn't kill us. This is probably going to Traxxas, right? Because Crater Hoof is going to be 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then we let this hit, and then we shoot it, because it's going to be the Traxxas. Yeah, so we can tune the narrative and sweep the rest of the things up. Let's hit this. This won't get swept up by the tune. Do we want to draw the island on top of our deck? I don't believe so. Alright, a bunch of stuff. What would you like? There's 2 Reclaimers, they can't take them both. There's 2 Hierarchs, they can't take them both. So I can close ones. And there's 2 Misty Rainforests. So they get a creature, a land, and that's it. So there's a draw 2. Well, there you go. Misty Rainforest and White of the Reliquary. Honestly, totally fine, I think. Do I want this island on top? I think I do, actually. We don't want to have to be scrabbling for our next mana after this. So I think we'll draw the island on top. And then we cycle... No, what have I done? I've made a horrible mistake here. Ugh. Wow. And why am I struggling so much today? We need to cycle so that we had the white source. We just completely balked this entire turn now. Ah. Come on, brain. Alright. Let's go and get... Well, I guess we get to sweep up more things, but it's not ideal. Yeah, we needed to cast the tune or cycle the Lórien Revealed. So are we preordaining here? I like the preordain. It can find us a stopgap measure. So we have a Force of Will, or we could have another Wrath of Skies is probably a-okay as well, isn't it? I don't hate the Lórien Revealed either. So next turn we can sweep up everything. But we have let our opponent have another turn of having a bunch of guys in play. So I'm not a fan of. There's the white. Are you going to attack with your Reclaimer? I really hope you do. There's the Misty. They're cracking it now. Oh yes, please commit something else to the board. Just play like 2 more Hierarchs. They're just cracking it so that their creature is bigger. So we could avoid getting hit by this, and they will now be able to play the Endurance after we wrath them. So pretty messy and ugly from us. Let's tune the narrative. Play this out. I'll bank some extra energy because that might come in handy later on. So they're going to float the mana here, then let us resolve our Wrath of the Skies. And then they're going to play the Endurance. But we should be able to clean up an Endurance. We've got Snapcaster Plow. Okay, we don't have Snapcaster Plow anymore. But we have more Wrath of the Skies with that energy we banked as well. Cradle, that doesn't do too much here. 2 cards left in our opponent's hand. We'd like to draw a Plow, then we could just Mentor Plow. That'd be a really solid position to be in. This Green Sun's Zenith X equals 3. What creature is this? A white, okay. So we can cycle this for a land. At the moment we have 1, 2. So if we tap everything, we Wrath of the Skies for 3. If we cycle this and get a land first, we can still do that. What do I want here? Probably Tundra is fine. White, white, 1, 2, and the energy we banked earlier is going to be enough to kill everything. Obviously, we could have just cycled the land last turn, but if we'd have drawn a land this time, we could have kept our Lórien Revealed. Okay, our opponent's got 1 card in hand. Their Cradle doesn't work. We've got removal. We've got some threats. Sylvan, Safekeeper. Don't care too much about that one. Okay, Monastery Mentor, it's your time to shine. I might just play both out. Do I want this Lórien Revealed? I think I do. Let's get this Lórien Revealed back. Cast another Mentor. And we should just be able to overrun our opponent pretty short order. We're going to draw 3 cards next turn. They need a critical mass of creatures and a Crater Hoofs. That's the sort of level of thing they need here. This is the sort of matchup we've actually been wanting. Natural order. Okay. Do you have another Traxxas? Torsten? I like Torsten a lot. They obviously don't have white mana, so it's a little sketch. But they could play off of the Hierarch. A Crater Hoof. So this is a 6/6. So we could take this, or we could just let our... How am I going to take this? So this is 6/6, right? Yeah. Alright, I'm going to go to 2. This only has trample on the turn they do the big thing. Okay, let's cast this. Alright, so now we're going to have a bunch of bodies to jump in the way of our opponent. Source of Plowshares is exactly the sort of card that I wanted here. Oh, wrong colour. Let's make white. Plow this. Some extra damage. And we're doing the Mentor thing. Here it comes. We will definitely kill our opponent next turn in combat. We have 4 blockers. Alright, we got the win there. We made a couple of errors there, which annoyed me, but it is what it is. So, Supreme Verdict. Path to Exile, Get Lost. We want these things. Stern Scolding looks good. Spell Pierce hits a handful of their things. I don't think we want the Narsets and the Force of Negation here. How much do we want good old-fashioned Counterspell? 2 mana feels like a lot, but it's nice to sit on afterwards. We are just going to be trying to rely on removal. Maybe we're just trimming a couple of our cantrips here. We definitely want to tune the narratives because we are in a very much in a Wrath of the Skies matchup. I don't think we want the Harbinger of the Seas. It can occasionally blow our opponent out, but I think we need to keep our general plan together. Okay. Spell Pierce is awkward, but if it's in our opener, it should be relatively easy to leverage. Our opponent has 8 cards that we really want to hit with a Spell Pierce. There is a Noble Hierarch. Sorry, an Ignoble Hierarch. I play out this Flooded Strand. We've got Stern Scolding and a Spell Pierce and a Swords to Plowshares. A Thoughtseize. I'm going to get a Tundra here. These decks tend not to run any Wastelands. I'm going to Spell Pierce this and protect our hand. If I played out a land, they could have potentially paid for that. Obviously, we don't fire it off if they have 2 mana available. There's a Noble Hierarch. And a land. We've got a Plow. We've got a Stern Scolding. I don't think we care about these Hierarchs very much. This feels like our opponent is going to try and natural order us. Does this mean we're supposed to just plow one of these guys right now? That's not really going to change anything, is it? He still has a natural order. This is going to be a Traxxas. It's probably going to draw 2 cards again. But I wish we'd have kept the plow. Okay. What would you like here? They get an additional card this time. They can Thoughtseize us. Elvish Reclaimer, Misty Rainforest, and Thoughtseize. But now we've wasted our plow. So we're going to get a Meticulous Archive here. Going to come in for 1, or are you going to Thoughtseize us in the second main phase? Sure. They probably take the Stern Scolding, so they can just play the Reclaimer. I shouldn't have plowed when I did. I didn't want them to have a critical mass available for natural order. Okay, Meticulous Archive. They took our Mentor. It's interesting. We have another Mentor. I honestly don't know if we want this Mentor right now. That's half the win conditions in our deck gone. Yikes. Counterspell. Where were you earlier? Okay, so next turn we can put the plow on top. The turn after we can draw it and kill their guy. So we're not going to finish on a particularly high life total. If we can win this one. I would like to Stern Scolding this. To us. A cantrip would be great. A Force of Will. Can I please have my Swords to Plowshares? Okay, we have 1 turn to survive with double Counterspell. And then once we get the Atraxa down, we're going to be at 2 life. So this Ignoble Hierarch might actually be able to kill us. Which is pretty terrifying. If we didn't plow that guy, they play the land, they activate, they natural order for 3 creatures in play. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, but we can plow the big guy. I don't know. Seem like a good line, but I don't know if we did have a good line available to us there. Right, we'll take the 8. Say no to this. If we have another creature, we're dead. Or another thing we have to counter, and we're dead. We're dead in a lot of ways. Okay, we wait till we'll see what our opponent does, because if they attack with the Atraxa, we can kill it with a trigger on the stack and save ourselves 1 extra turn of damage from the Hierarch. They should attack with just the Hierarch here, weirdly. Let's see what they go for. Alright, this buys us a turn. They could phase their creature out with Talon Gates. And we have to find... Okay, so now we have to find another solution. I think the solution is going to be game 3. That's going to be our main solution here. I guess if we hold the plow and they get the Crater Hoof, we only take 10 damage. Increase death, X equals 2. Alright, I think we have to counter this. Puts us to 1. We have to draw a removal spell right now. We did draw a removal spell, so we are okay for 1 more turn. Okay. We're living to fight another day. They've got endurance, we're just dead. Okay, we're just dead to the guy there. Alright, let's go to game 3. I like what we've sideboarded here. It seems fine. We just didn't quite work out for us in that situation. Let's go back in. Let's try and remove all their creatures. You know, if we wait to plow, we just take 10 and then we don't take any more damage afterwards. They're probably always getting the Atraxa in that situation. Yeah, we should have just held onto the plow. I deserve to lose that game. Tune the narrative, get lost. I think we're going to ponder first rather than tune the narrative. Okay, I like some of these options. I'm going to bury the archive, then the Wrath, and then we'll put the Force into hand. So we have it if we need it, and they don't know that we're going to have a big sweeper coming in. Because we might be getting thought seized this turn. Next turn we can always prevent our hand from being attacked by using a Brainstorm. Once upon a time. I don't like countering once upon a time, but maybe it's a thing we could do sometimes. There is the Noble Hierarch, sure. So we have Wrath of the Skies. Okay, I'm going to play this one. We can Brainstorm and then we can hide, and then we can crack. Or if we need to hide stuff, we can do that too. So this is going to get us a Tundra, this Polluted Delta, so we can do a Wrath of the Skies. A Safekeeper, sure. A White of the Reliquary. We don't need to Brainstorm here. We got Meticulous Archive as the next card down, isn't it? Next card is a Meticulous Archive, which we don't really want. We could fetch it right now, though. Let's get a bit of Surveil action. We need the white source anyway. I will put this on top of my library. This is the sort of card that really helps this matchup. Okay, so we probably want to ponder first, or do we want to bank some more energy? Bank more energy for next time, actually. So we sweep those out. We've got an energy saved. Next turn we can ponder. Right, our opponent might be holding up an endurance. Path to Exile, that's fine. I'll ponder here. I like Snapcaster Mage. I also like the island here. Okay, I think I'll sandwich the Snapcaster between two islands. And carry on. I'm going to go for endurance here. We're going to need to think about getting a win condition in place soon, though. Right, this is just a Surveil land, so no additional pressure. And kept on top. Green Sun Zenith, X equals 3. I think that's reasonable. We can clean that up with removal. Whereas Force of Will is something that is one of our few answers to like natural orders. I think I will pass this. Right, let's Brainstorm. Okay. Force and Force. I guess we're not using Wrath of the Skies right now. So we keep these two forces. We probably want to keep this Snapcaster. So I guess we put Wrath of the Skies down. And then path. We're going to need to find a win condition. Alright, our opponent's had enough of us. I don't blame them. This matchup looks pretty rough for them. But we've got 2 on the board now. So we are even going into the final round. Should we see if we can get a positive? That would be nice. Alright, Island Ponder. We've got some counter magic. We've got a win condition, so maybe we can put this game away at some point. What are we looking for with this Ponder? That's a good question. I think we're going to hold off on this Ponder for now, actually. We've got lands to develop. We don't know if this is going to be a counter magic matchup or if it's going to be a removal matchup. I don't just want to burn this Ponder without an idea of what we're doing with it. So we're just going to pass. We could have played a Strand and have access to a Meticulous Archive. But I think I'm okay with the choices we've made. Opponents on the old Volcanic Island train. You don't see that many Volcanic Island these days. Could be Sneak and Show. That's taken a bit of a popular turn. We're going to hold up this Counterspell. If they are playing Sneak and Show, we've got 2 Counterspells, and then we can try and pick up the pieces afterwards with the Mentor. Right, I think I'm going to get a Meticulous Archive here. A Brainstorm from our opponent. Alright, they really wanted this Brainstorm to resolve. Meticulous Archive. Let's get some selection. Thundering Falls. Okay. I am definitely getting Sneak and Show vibes here. Ponder. That's a blue card. I will leave it on top. So, are we playing around a daze? If we want to play Counterspell and Force of Will around a daze, then we are playing nothing here. And that seems fine to me. We don't really want to start jamming our cantrips necessarily, unless we're got our Mentor getting some value off of it. A Vexing Bauble, you say? Alright, I'll fight over that one. Ponder for our opponent. I guess we're going for a second Meticulous Archive here. We do have 2 in our list. We could have held that and then gone for Mystic Sanctuary. Other option, Brainstorm. I'll take a Brainstorm. Put a land and I'll pass for now. We don't need to Brainstorm to make additional land drops yet. I would like to play the Monastery Mentor with 2 mana up. That would be the ideal dream. City of Traitors. Okay, here goes a good old-fashioned, honest-to-God Counterspell. And it just worked. Interesting. That probably suggests our opponent has multiple attempts. White, white, and blue. I'm going to ponder because it sees more cards, and we're looking for just a piece of free interaction here. Okay, I don't mind these. Right, so we've got a force protection for the next thing, and we've got a cantrip on top. If we don't have to force this turn, we can cantrip twice and get a bunch more power going on. It does feel like our opponent's going to play something here, though, because they are throwing away their cities. This is probably going to be a sneak attack, my guess would be. We have to counter this. Our opponent's got 3 cards in hand. This also makes us some more tokens. Makes us another token. Alright, so they've got a Force of Will. So they've got 1 card in hand. Pitching attracts to the Grand Unifier. So that means they probably have... Okay, they don't have a big monster yet. Okay. Okay. Let's cast this Preordain. Let's see if we can just do the classic Mentor thing and just get it going. Bottom here. Brainstorm. Here we go. And we live in the dream. That's what we signed up for. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. This is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, let's Preordain. So put these both on the bottom. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this is 13, 14, 15, 16. So we only put our opponent to 1, which is unlikely to be relevant. Okay, we can try and plow whatever comes out of this. Alright, we got the game. Let's see if we can do it again. Dovin's Veto looked excellent here. So very much interested in having that one. Nothing else is really appealing to me. Stern Scolding can get out of here. We don't need that one. Spell Pierce looks good though. Wrath of the Skies looks decidedly wonky at best. Do we have any upgrades from Wrath of the Skies? Does Get Lost hit enchantments? It does. Okay, let's have these instead of Wrath of the Skies, because then we can at least blow up something like a sneak attack. Also, I think I'll keep this Supreme Verdict in because we might be able to Supreme Verdict a Show and Tell Emrakul. Okay. Last round of the evening for me. It's past 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm having to record double today due to something that happened yesterday. So I'm close to my wit's end at the moment. Yeah, lots of counter magic. Just a bit of ponder action from our opponent there. No turn 1 slapping around the face. They did not shuffle their ponder though. We'll go and get ourselves a... I think an island is fine here. There is a potential of Magus of the Moon that our opponent could have. What are we looking for here? We're looking for more counter magic. We already have lots of counter magic. We're looking for follow-up lands. But I think that's fine for now. I doubt this Narset is going to be what we need. I guess something that's nice to have when the dust settles to stop your opponent cantripping into like their next wave or whatever. But it's probably going to be going into the Force of Will, most likely. If we don't draw a land this turn, then I'm going to ponder. We drew a land. Okay, so I do not need to ponder this turn. I will deploy this Plains. There is an island from our opponent, and a Lotus Petal, 5 cards left in their hand. Fable of the Mirror Break was just a generally good enough card that we're going to hit that one, I think. I think I'm going to get rid of Preordain now, because we can Narset next turn. This will get us another island. We're more about blue mana here. Let's get our Narset going. Find me the goods, please. A Force of Will. I will take a Force of Will. We have double Force of Will still. And then we can play the Monastery Mentor next turn. Just have a jolly, lovely time with it, ideally. I'm probably keeping this Lórien Revealed as a blue card. There's a Lotus Petal. We have to Force of Will something like Vexing Bauble. Let's hit this, pitching this Lórien Revealed. Our opponent knows this is coming. And they're not fine with it, but it's happened. So... let's have a look with the Narset first. We could have used the Narset to clear the ponder, actually. I'll take a Spell Pierce. I will deploy our Monastery Mentor. I would like to have Force of Will and Spell Pierce. Our opponent's trying to cast 4 mana spells like Sneak Attack in their deck. So Spell Pierce still plays into this. Brotherhood's End. Deals 3 damage to each Planeswalker. Do I want to try and Spell Pierce this? I think this is a Force of Will jobby. Get our creatures going. Right, they know we're basically just clinging on with a Spell Pierce over here. Let's bash. Let's keep this card in hand so they at least suspect of something else, and we can also brainstorm it back for more action. Alright, Spell Pierce is blank at this point. Sneak attack. Let's cast this Spell Pierce. This gives us another creature. It's more permanence. And if they want to sacrifice Lotus Petal, that's not the worst for us. I think if we don't protect our Monastery Mentor, our opponent's going to have enough time to win the game. I do think we had to protect it. And we couldn't protect it with just a Spell Pierce. Right, you can put in one monster. Or you can put in no monsters. They could put in a monster on blocks. So they could put in something like a Grizzlebrand on blocks. I think we're just going to send it because we can't afford to play scared of that because our opponent will just win the game. Let's get some Meticulous Archive on the go. So our opponent can't use cantrips to find monsters because of our Narset. Alright, doing in our end step so it's around for their turn. An Archon of Cruelty. I guess we get rid of probably a monk here. Could be the Narset. We don't want our opponent drawing additional cards. So we lose the monk. Or, well, we see what they attack first, right? Because they have to attack. So if they attack the Narset, then we have the information there. They're attacking us. So we're going to sacrifice this monk, keep the Narset around. So they don't draw a bonus card here. Now their guy is gone. And maybe we can string together enough to win the game here. Let's attack Monastery Mentor. Hopefully this Narset is doing a bunch of work for us. They didn't put anything in the end step. That's something. A Vexing Bauble. That stops our counter magic. They can crack that on our turn as well to draw a card. Alright, tune the narrative. This is how it begins. Come on, deck. Find me just cantrips into cantrips. Cracking the bauble here. A Dovin's Veto. That's not actually very good right now. Sneak attack is already in play. We need something like a Get Lost to get rid of it. What monster is this going to be? That is a big one. We'll see what they reveal in case it gives us some information. Pyroblasts, One Ring. Okay, yeah. And then they just kill us with the Attractor. Okay, let's go to the final game of the evening. Are we doing anything differently? I don't think so. Like, maybe we could have Wrath of the Skies away that enchantment, but I don't think that's the game we want to be playing. Yeah, maybe we're supposed to let that Fabled Mirror Breaker go, but that card is pretty obnoxious from where we were sat there. It's a really annoying thing to answer with anything other than counterspells as well. We have a Spell Pierce, we have a Brainstorm to find us a land. I will keep this. We have a lot of interaction. We have our win condition when the time is right. Island and pass. We have a Spell Pierce if our opponent tries to go on turn 1. Otherwise we're going to be brainstorming on our turn. If we get Brainstorm locked, that's going to obviously be miserable for us. A Ponder. That's not going to be a Spell Pierce target for me there. Alright, we have the Tundra. We don't need to Brainstorm right now. So I'm hoping to maybe Spell Pierce into Snapcaster Spell Pierce along the way. And then we can start getting some pressure with the Snapcaster. Spell Pierce is going to be decreasing in value every single turn though. So hopefully we can leverage it in the near future. We're not going to fight over this Ponder. You need to be aware of things like Pyroblast that our opponent has in their deck. An island. Okay, that means you don't have to act yet. I could play the Mentor. I'm not going to. I'm just going to hold up everything. We can do some Spell Piercing, some Brainstorming, a bunch of things. We're just going to sit and look at each other for a bit. Get lost. Okay, so now I want to Brainstorm. Found a land. I like that. I don't really want this Swords to Plowshares right now. And it doesn't really matter what we put on top that much, does it? I think we'll put the Mentor on top for now. Keep the most amount of blue cards. We've got to get lost in case we need to. We can tap our opponent out and then get lost away their sneak attack. But our 2-for-1 removals are going to be really awkward into their Pyroblasts. We need something like the Dovin's Veto. Got some movement end of turn. I suspect it's a Thundering Falls. It is. Get that free selection going. They're left on top. Feels like a go turn. Fable of Mirror Breaker. This is a perfectly fine thing to Spell Pierce, I think. I'm expecting a Red Blast. But that gets out of hand. Flusterstorm. Okay. Can we just let that happen? So now we have the Mentor plan. That's how we're going to deal with this. We play our Mentor. And now we can beat this in combat if we need to. It's not just going to run away with the game. They do get some selection, which is obviously good. We have some tools. I don't think the Get Lost is worth burning on the Fable just yet, but we can fire that off if we need to. Opponent is attacking. I will not block. Will I block? I could Brainstorm here. And get a little block in. Okay. You can put something on top that we don't want. So that's probably the Swords to Plowshares. And we get to mill that away with the archive. Alright, I'll take this free block. We've got double Force of Will still. If it's not good enough, then it's not good enough. A Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Alright, let's fight with this because we might be able to just rinse our opponent and take them out next turn. Because we're making some friends here. Show and tell. Let's see what they put in. Oh wow, we just get to have our cake and eat it, do we? So we mill off the top card, which is the Plow. If we blow this up, we attack for more damage. I think that is an acceptable place to be here. So we can't stop a sneak attack. They can play the sneak attack and activate it. So we're kind of at their mercy here. Sneak attack. So if we hold up the Get Lost, we can blow it up, but then they have 2 activations first anyway. There's an Emrakul. That doesn't kill us. Opponent's on 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, kind of awkward. But any spell will kill. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can sacrifice 2 creatures here. Is that right? So if we, so this is 3 damage, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need to keep 2 creatures. So we have to sacrifice this land as well. So any cantrip is lethal. Are they going to activate their maps? I don't think that can kill them. I'm pretty sure that's what Explore does. It pumps your creature. I could be wrong. But now they're going to have to shuffle this Emrakul. Okay, so putting that into the graveyard. Okay, so you can basically surveil it if you explore it. Once upon a time, reading the cards used to tell you what the cards did. Preordain, baby. And that is the match and the league. So he managed to put up a positive record with Monastery Mentor in 2024. And it was our only win condition. And it did get us there a few times. That last one was pretty dicey. It felt like an old school match because Mentor decks used to play into Sneak and Show decks all the time back in the day. So let's talk about this list. Obviously, I do not recommend this list. It does feel like we're playing something that, you know, is a real blast from the past. We do have something like Wrath of Skies, which is like the only new edition, really. Which is a very powerful card, and we absolutely slammed our Cradle Control opponent with it. But it doesn't have a lot of synergy with Mentor itself, which is awkward. On top of that, the mana base that you want for Wrath of Skies needs to have access to white-white, but we're trying to play on basics, where we're often going to be ended up with blue-blue. So that can sometimes be an issue, or expose us to wastelands. And when you play a blue-white deck that looks like this, you generally ignore wastelands, but if a wasteland does impact you, it has a massive impact. So the Wrath of Skies forces us sometimes to play into that, which can be a downside. We don't necessarily need all of these cantrips. We could probably cut a couple of Preordains and have just some more spells and interaction. Maybe a Path main deck or some Supreme Verdicts or something like that. But really, I think if you want to play this deck, I think you can play some good blue-white control decks. They look a little bit like this, but they don't have the Monastery Mentor. Now, that being said, the Monastery Mentor did win us games today. It did do some stuff that people weren't necessarily used to seeing in Legacy right now. Is it the best threat we could have? I don't know. I do like just Murktide Regents as a threat, because you can, after all the dust to settle, you play the Murktide and bash. But obviously the Murktide is a little bit susceptible to removal, so maybe Planeswalkers are better. We could probably fit in a couple of Teferis over these Preordains. There's definitely some ways we could sharpen up this deck. But I think the real best thing we could do is sadly play a Jeskai deck with the Fourth Eolingus. Like, Jeskai is pretty much the only control deck that sees play in Legacy right now, purely because it has the ability to just say, I win the game with this Fourth Eolingus. And even then, I don't think Jeskai is a particularly good deck in the meta. Like, it's playable. But I think control is struggling a bit at the moment. Hopefully, once we get some bannings, maybe we'll see some different breeds of control deck jump back into the meta. But I had a lot of fun today. It was some grindy. It was a bit tricky because this is the second league in a row I'm recording. But my brain cells managed to get us to a positive record, and I'll take that at the end of the day. All right. Not really much more to say about this, to be honest. I think we knew going in that we were playing something that was a little bit outdated. I think if you wanted to play a Monastery Mentor build, you probably can't be a Wrath of the Skies build. I think there's too much anti-synergy between these. You want more cheap interaction, the cantrips, and you need some more card advantage here. That is the problem with this control deck. Like, you could run 4 Narsets if you really wanted to, and I don't think that would be terrible. Like, if you have 4 Narsets, strip these down, having some like path or something. But then we don't really get to play Mentor until turn 4, so we play Mentor and a spell, and we have to make sure it's a spell we want to play, so a cantrip is fine. If we're holding up a plow and we don't have a target and we lose our Mentor, that's really, really troublesome, because we need to get something out of the Mentor. Because in this day and age of Legacy, you can't just play a creature for 3 mana that doesn't do anything. It needs to do something. You know, it needs to give you another creature or be so big that it connects once and is like brutal, like Barragoyf. Like Barragoyf is the sort of the 3 mana threat of choice in Legacy. Obviously, you have, you know, some other things like Knight of the Reliquary and stuff like that. But when you're in a control deck, you don't really want to spend all your time protecting your threat either. So, bit of a tricky one, but I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. Alright, I'm quite tired. It's 1:30 in the morning for me, so I'm going to pack this one up and go to bed. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. And goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths, as well as 3 tiers of support. A low-cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month, as well as regular articles, and lastly, the higher tier gives you all of the above, as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.